Hey, on the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Hey, welcome back. Welcome to the channel. I'm just jumping on alive to see who's about and see if we can catch up with some people. And see how your Christmases have been, see how you're all doing, see how you've all fared. Christmas is an unusual time of the year for many people. You know, there's a lot of people that celebrate it with friends and families and loved ones and remembering those that have been and passed on. But there's also a lot of people that celebrate Christmas like on their own as well. So for a lot of people, it can be a very sort of lonely time as well for a lot of people. And it may not be so lonely for them themselves. Maybe they just find themselves, maybe they like being alone at Christmas. Maybe they like that sort of separation from all the madness. And sometimes these, you know, the videos that people create on YouTube actually create a connection and give those people company as well. So if you are one of those people that come across this live today or maybe in the future, you know, do comment below and let us know how your Christmas has been, and if you've been celebrating it on your own, or if you've been with loved ones and family, or maybe there's things that are going on at the minute and that wasn't possible. So yeah, Christmas is it's unique and different to everybody, because as we always say, we all are unique and we all are different, but it can be a very, very difficult time for a lot of people. But for me, what I feel and what I get from it is it's always a feeling of like reflection, and I'm always thinking about the years that have been, what's happened, what's occurred, what's happened throughout the year, maybe things that I've changed or tried to change, or maybe things I've tried to do and that they haven't been as maybe as successful, or they've gone better than what I expected. And I think that's the natural transition as the year goes, and as we move through the various days of Christmas. I think it's the natural transition to just reflect on the year that's been, maybe on the Christmas that's been as well. Reflect on the Christmas and reflect on maybe the people that aren't with us anymore. It's a very it can be quite melancholic and very strange for a lot of people. So I just thought I'd pop on and do a live and see if anybody's about. Maybe there's not many people about, and I was just catching up with a good friend of mine today. You know, we've been friends ever since like early school days. So we've been friends for maybe 40 years probably. So we had a good catch up today. We went for our walk. Went for a walk around the park and got lots of steps in, and yeah, just had a good catch up. And it was really good, really lovely as always. And it's something about like when you get friends in life like that are with you at every stage of life that you go through. It doesn't matter how long you're apart from those people. The conversation just begins like you've never been away from each other. You've never been apart. And I'd not seen him for over a year. So it was probably October last year since I last saw him. Obviously we message each other and things and keep in touch that way, but that's not quite the same as when you actually when you actually meet up and have that one-to-one connection with somebody. So just to check in, you know, check in with them. So yeah, it was really, really good, really lovely. And that's the other thing, you know, that this time of year brings. It brings a lot of people close together that maybe they haven't been nearby, or they live at maybe a different part of the country, or maybe in a totally different country as well. It brings a lot of people close together, it brings people nearer from far and wide. So yeah, it's a very sentimental time of the year, and it's a very reflective time of the year as well. But Christmas for me, it's been really nice. Although one of my favourite musicians, one of my favourite guitarists and singer-songwriters, he passed away sadly on the 22nd of December, which is kind of ironic really, because the song that he's noted for at this time of year is Driving Home for Christmas. So if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Chris Rea. He died on the 22nd of December. And I know he had been poorly for a while. He's had multiple health issues and health problems since about the year 2000, because I went to go and see him live. He was scheduled. I was scheduled to go and see him live at Manchester Apollo in 2000, which is when he brought his second album called The Road to Hell out, and that's when he had to cancel all the tour dates because of this illness in his duodenum and colon and what have you, and ever since then his health's been very, very kind of like up and down. And then the last time I went to see him live, because I have seen him on multiple occasions ever since his first sort of bluesy album that he put out, which was the Dancing Down the Stony Road, which was his first double blues album that he put out. So I went to see him live then, and every album since then I did go and see him live. So I've probably seen him live maybe about, I don't know, 7 or 8 times maybe. I can't remember. It was really sad to hear about it, but it was also kind of expected, because he's not been well for quite some time. So comment, do let me know how you're doing. Let me know how your Christmas has been. Let me know how your year's been. Even if you might not even celebrate Christmas, it might just be a festive period for you. It might just be a bit of time off because a lot of places close or whatever. But do let me know. Let me know how your festive season is going. Obviously, this is the 3rd day of Christmas, and Hamish Greenwood wants to know if you like Scotland and if you have ever been. I do like Scotland. I have been a couple of times to Scotland. I've been to Edinburgh and I've been to Glasgow. And I'd love to go further afield into Scotland, into the Highlands and what have you. So, yeah, hopefully that would be something I would like to do. Do a bit more travelling up there. And go and visit there, because I just like being out in the middle of nowhere. I like being out in the wilderness, away from people and populations and what have you. So yes, I have been. Edinburgh. When I went to Edinburgh, that was actually with a band I was in. We played a gig in Edinburgh at the House of Blues, which was one of Jools Holland's venues up in Edinburgh. I'm not sure if it's still there. And then the other time I was in Scotland was with work at Glasgow, and we went to the Glasgow, is it the arena, or I don't know what it's called, but yeah, so there we go. So yes, I've only been a couple of times, but yeah, it's a beautiful country, and I know a few people that live there or have lived there as well. So there we go. Is Scotland part of the UK? Yes, it is. It is one of the countries that make up the British Isles. So you've got Scotland at the very top, then you've got England, and and then you got Wales on the edge as well, and obviously Ireland and Northern Ireland, because Ireland's not part of. I don't think it's part of Great Britain, although it's probably part of the EU or something. Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole other ballpark, isn't it? The EU and European Union and all the other strange people. Yeah, so yeah, Scotland is part of the UK. Insatiable. Hey, bro. Hey, Insatiable. How are you? So where's people from? Where you're all from? How's your Christmas been? What have you been up to? Was Santa good to you? If you celebrate Christmas, if you exchange presents? Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning. Chris J. Maddie is in Norwich in England. Hello, Chris. Beautiful part of the country. Insatiable's in the Mississippi. Just moved from NC. NC. What's that? NC? Is that? I'm trying to think of the state. NC. My mind's gone blank. North Carolina. Strange, isn't it, when you try and think of American states? There was a thing on, I think it was Tenable. Tenable's a TV show in the UK. I don't know if some of you might have seen it. And that was on about the US states. And it was the US states that had whatever letter to begin with. And obviously there's 10 of them. Yeah, your mind just goes blank when you think about them. It does. Christmas was cancelled for me this year. My grandfather died at home. Oh, late Christmas Eve. He was 84 years. Oh, sorry to hear that, Chris. Bless him. A good age, 84, but still, it doesn't. It's always a tough time of the year. I remember my grandmother. She passed away on Christmas Eve, I do believe it was as well. So it was just before Christmas Day. And then my other grandmother, my mum's mum, she passed away, I think it was just after Mother's Day. My mum said, please don't go on Mother's Day. And I think it was the day after Mother's Day, or 2 days after Mother's Day. America's kind of scary right now. The whole world is fucking weird at the minute. It really is. We're really going through a lot of strange stuff. I mean, here in the UK, we've got all this stuff going on with, like immigration and the Labour Party, and I don't get political on here because it's all created just for the creation of fear. And I was just actually saying to my friend today, and we were talking about AI and how AI is becoming so it's kind of like taking over so much, and I mean, you can still tell the difference between something that's AI and something that's not, but I think there's a lot of people that can't tell the difference and can't see it. But I actually said to him today, I said, unless I see something with my own eyes now, I'm not going to believe anything, because things are so like fucked up, really. Things are so weird, and anything can be created with AI. Anything in your wildest dreams. We've had all this thing with Three Eye Atlas, the comet that was going past, and before that actually arrived, for months of speculation, it was like it was this alien mothership or this alien fleet that was coming to Earth to destroy us all or whatever, all this like crap, all fear-based, everything out there that you see is kind of like fear-based, to try and get you in that, that shock, fear, reactive state, because that reactive state makes you react then to other people and create division. And it's very, very clever how it's used as a weapon. It's weaponized. Fear is weaponized to create division. And politics does exactly the same thing. It creates division, it becomes weaponized. And I try not to get involved with it. I try not, but it's very hard to not find something that makes you think you bunch of twats, or whatever, and it's really, really difficult to not get pulled in. It's very clever and it's very manipulative at doing that. But I think more so maybe at this time of the year as well, it's easy to pull people in. And especially with things that you see on, like videos, TikTok, social media, people create and they give opinions, and everyone's entitled to an opinion. But people create, they give opinions, they say what they're thinking, that then invokes a reaction in somebody else, which invokes a reaction in somebody else. And then you get all this mass bickering over someone's opinion. And you're just like, fucking hell, just get over it. Just live a life and stop being so involved in all the bullshit that's out there that's trying to create all this division in the first place. Just let it go. Just pay no attention to it until you actually see it with your own eyes and you're actually in it to believe what's being put out there. Just have no interaction with it whatsoever, because the more you interact with it, it gives it power. It gives it the energy that it's looking for. What do you do for fun? Any hobbies or passions? So I love painting. I love drawing. There's a lot of artwork around the room that you might be able to see around me that I've done over the years. I love painting. I love drawing. I love anything creative or crafty. I like music. I like playing guitar. I like writing music. And I actually quite like doing these as well, and going on lives and going on a YouTube live or connecting with people that might resonate on some level with what I'm talking about, or maybe have an interest in spirituality or healing or Reiki. I really, really love spirituality, and I love meditation and the healing work and connecting with different people, and seeing the difference but also the similarities that we all have as well, and feeling that energy. I love that. I love going out walking. I love walking the dogs. I love being with my partner. I love going on holidays when we get away, when we get a chance to get away. What about you? What do you guys enjoy doing? What have you enjoyed doing over Christmas as well? What have you enjoyed doing? Oh, the UK is in the right state, isn't it? Yeah. Like I say, I don't get political or whatever. I try not to get involved with it all. It's just the less attention we give it, it's not about putting your head in the sand kind of thing, because I'm totally aware of what's going on. I'm totally aware of things, because I pay attention and I can feel the energy of people. And even when you're walking around like in a town centre, you can see how people are. They're so fear-based, they're so scared. and very, very lost as well. People tend to be very lost and very confused. And ever since COVID, to be fair, COVID's created a lot of that with all the stuff that we were seeing before, and now again they're trying to pull more of that stuff with this flu. But when COVID was here, there was no such thing as flu. Flu didn't exist. It was all about COVID and creating numbers from flu to make it seem worse than what it was. So yeah. Very, very fear-based, a lot of people. Insatiable. I love art, spirituality. I play acoustic and hiking, skateboarding, writing poetry and songs, and smoking herbs. Cool. Sounds like my kind of guy. Or woman, or whatever, person. Sounds really interesting. Sounds like a really great, active, fun life that you're living, so that's really good. Craig, I have done nothing for the last 5 years, basically. Well, you can't have done nothing. You must have done something over 5 years, surely. There must be something that you've done. What's your favourite Bible verse? I don't know. I don't really read the Bible. I'm not religious. I'm not Christian. I don't follow a faith. I just believe that there is something more. I believe that there is a spirit. I do believe that there is a God, that there is an energy, but I don't read the Bible. I love things like the kingdom of heaven is within you. Or I love things like heaven does not come with signs to be perceived. I love that as well. Hello, Alex. Divided attention today, but stopping in for whatever this cuppa is. What are you drinking? What cuppa is it? If I had 5 minutes with Jesus Christ, what would you ask? That's a good one. Good question. I don't really know. Probably something along the lines of, it'd be probably something quite energetic. Like if it was in this day and age, if it was now, I would say, what is the meaning behind what's going on currently around the world? And you would probably explain in a vibrational context, in an energetic context, because that's what he understood. A lot of the messages that he gave was very esoteric and about the inner wisdom that we all have. I was hoping you provided the cuppa. Well, I can make you a cuppa, but it might be cold by the time it gets there, Alex. Are you Hindu? No. Everyone asks that because I've got the third eye symbol behind me, but no, I'm not. Reiki, you say, could you explain what that is? So there's different ways of kind of explaining what Reiki is. Reiki is everything. Reiki is universal energy. So what does that mean? What does that mean to somebody? If somebody said to you, universal energy or universal life force or life force energy, what does that mean to a person? What does that mean to somebody? So your life force energy, or the life force energy, is the energy that helps you function. It's the energy that makes everything work that needs to make it work. It's the energy behind everything, and the universe is an energy, and we're all part of the universe. But if we break the word down, Reiki, R-E-I and K-I, so Ki, K-I, is energy, or spiritual energy, if you want to call it that. And Rei is kind of like universal, spiritual, and Ki is life force energy. So you've got universal life force energy is what Reiki actually means. But to actually define what it is almost trying to explain the universe in itself. But we're all energy, we're all made of energy, we're all a part of energy, we're all a part of the universe, we're all made of atoms and cells, and all of those atoms have energy. And basically we're all in different vibrational frequencies. So when we're giving healing through the various practices that you use as a practitioner, when you're giving healing and what have you, working on your own healing journey, then you're working on your own energy. You're learning to harmonize your own energy. And as a practitioner, we do that through mantra, we do that through meditation, we do that through hands-on healing, we do it with breath techniques, but all of this stuff, that we talk about within Reiki, it's in everything else, really. It's in acupuncture, it's in Tai Chi, it's in Qigong. Qi and Ki are the same thing. It's in reflexology, it's in martial arts, it's in your food, the water. Everything has an energy signature, everything has a frequency, and we're just basically being a part of that. And what happens in life as well is, as we move through life, our frequency is always changing, it's always moving, it's always adapting to different circumstances. So like I was mentioning earlier, with the media and the news and whatever, it always creates an element of fear. And fear is very good at reducing your vibration, or reducing your energy. So you become very kind of like low, heavy in your own, in the way that you feel, in the way that you think. With the practices within Reiki, all you're doing is helping to harmonize that and balance that energy. So that's kind of like what it's doing, but in a long explanation kind of thing. But for people that just want to know what it's going to do for them, basically it helps you to relax, and it helps to speed up your body's own way of being able to heal itself. That's how it works. What's up, Milk? Reiki sounds lovely. Are you familiar with sacred geometry, like Flower of Life, by chance? I am. I've actually seen a lot of sacred geometry in meditations, and it's very, very interesting. And there's the one you normally see sacred geometry around, like Metatron's cube and things like that. But I did see, like a long time ago, when I was in a really, really deep meditation, I saw geometric grids, like in my mind's eye, and I was being teleported, and it was very, very interesting, and it was almost like an activation of some sort. There was like light codes and an activation that was taking place, and that's what I was seeing through the sacred geometry. But yeah, it's very interesting when you kind of like look a little bit deeper. I haven't really sort of looked at it much for a long time. I've seen the flower of life on LSD and mushrooms. I kept drawing it until my friend asked if I knew what it meant. Alex, and I'll ask a tough question too, maybe. Is there a remarkable difference between Kundalini awakening and any other spiritual awakening in your opinion? Is one more sudden? Not really. To me, they're kind of like one and the same. I don't think of them as any different. Some people go through more sudden awakenings because it's part of their journey, and people might call that a Kundalini awakening because it was very, very fast. Other people go through a spiritual awakening on a gentle, slower process that might take a lifetime or many, many years. Again, that's just what they need to do. That's what they need to go through. And an awakening never ends as well, by the way. Your energy is always evolving. It's always changing. You're always adapting and evolving to different things. So it's never just like an awakening and then that's it. You're constantly moving through the motions. You're constantly evolving through the energy. Hey, Leap of Faith. So yeah, I just think of them as one of the same thing. I don't have all the answers. I don't know for definite, but that's just what I feel. I've seen a lot of, I did a video not so long ago about, there's a lot of people doing these sort of like Kundalini activation things and what have you. And I did a video about that, and I just think it's all just, I just think it makes very good theatre, a lot of it. So sorry to lose you, Solo Dio, but if you don't agree with me, that's fine. We're all allowed our own opinion. I was just talking about that before, actually, how someone might have an opinion and it upsets somebody. It is what it is. If you don't agree with it, see you later. It's not my problem. Insatiable. Hey, bro, I love your vibes these late nights. I seek people like you. Seem wise as fuck. I wouldn't say I was as wise as fuck, but you know, we're all learning, we're all on a journey. We just pick things up along the way. There's a lot of people that know a lot more about me, not about me, but a lot more than what I do. And I might know more than what they do about certain subjects. It's just, I just feel that we pick up the information that we need to pick up individually, what our soul feels called to resonate with. And as in Solo Dio says, you know, that like they say I'm a scammer and that I'm so delusional and they've unsubscribed. Well, I just have an opinion. If you don't like someone having an opinion, then you're the one with the problem. Thank you for subscribing. Again, if anybody's new here and you've just come across the live, I know there's not many people in at the moment, but yeah, if you are new here, please do subscribe to the channel. It seems to be very, very difficult at the minute, YouTube, to try and get any sort of traction or momentum with people. And yeah, I was just saying that today to my mate that I was catching up with. You know, YouTube is extremely difficult to sort of build. It takes a long, long time. And I'm actually thinking of starting my other channel up and trying to do more on that, but trying to do it more around art and music. Normally I do a lot of painting, I do a lot of artwork on my lives, but I'm not tonight here. But on my other channel, I think I have something like 3 subscribers, so it's basically going to be starting from scratch all over again. And I'm just thinking, do I really have the energy to go through all that again and build it all up? I don't know. I really don't know. It takes a lot of work, and like a lot of people know, like if if you want to create a business or something on YouTube, or you want to make money from it, you need to get like thousands of views for every video that you upload. And also, you need to have at least 4,000 watch time hours within the 365 days of the year. So you have to be constantly on it. You have to be constantly creating content and putting stuff out there. And back like probably about 2 or 3 years ago, the thing to do was do shorts. Shorts got you subscribers. Now shorts don't get me anything, you know, and I've tried to do shorter videos that are more kind of like, that will give you what you need faster, rather than just a long form video that people don't have the attention span to sit and watch a video anymore. People's attention spans are being depleted so fast, and it's such a shame. It really is. Really, really is such a shame, because if people just took the time to maybe try something new, learn something new, meditate, lengthen their attention span, increase their awareness, life would be so much more for them. It really, really would. Alex, right, I feel too that awakening never ends. What I am experiencing, I certainly didn't seek to activate. I feel lucky that, but also devastated. I feel first, then I go try to make enough sense of it so my ego can calm down a bit. Yeah, well, that's known as kind of like, it's like ego death that you're going through. That's what that is. It's a bit of ego death, and it's just you're learning to harmonize between the two. You're learning to harmonize, so you're feeling from your intuitive ability, from what your soul feels, from what your heart feels. You're feeling from that, and then it's a battle with the ego. And it's a little bit like when we want to talk to maybe your higher self, or you want to speak to your spirit guides, or you want to connect to spirit on some level. The ego is always quick to try and come in to make you think, no, it's not that. No, that's wrong. But when you're listening to, or you want to connect to your higher self and get that sort of wisdom from your soul, it can be a battle to begin with. It really can. It's only really until you've really mastered that, and you've learned to differentiate the difference between the two. I just noticed that Reiki is in the name, and I misspelled it twice. It's all right. Some people that I know they'll say, "Oh, you're still doing that Reiki thing." I'm like, Reiki? Yes, I'm still doing Reiki. Yeah. We know what you meant. All good, absolutely. And the ego dies screaming, or a degradation, anywho. Yeah. There's a really, really clever trick with the ego as well. So the ego will often fire up here. But once you realize that it is the ego, and you actually speak to it and you say, this is ego, this is the ego, this is my mind, and you actually access it and speak to it, what it does is it neutralizes it, because it's been seen, it's been identified. So it just sort of like, it kind of fizzles away a little bit. But obviously you have to do that with lots of different circumstances that do come up. I don't know what my laptop's doing. My laptop's doing something strange. I love that name, Chef Bezos. Yeah, sorry, I keep getting a phone call. Someone keeps calling me, and that's why the audio keeps cutting out, so I do apologise. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put it on Do Not Disturb, and then hopefully no one should ring me. Yeah, a really good technique that I've found as well is if you meditate with your eyes open. So a lot of people tend to meditate with their eyes closed, which is fine. It's a great way to meditate, closing your eyes, because it takes away any of the external distractions and it allows you to go more internal. But if you actually meditate with the eyes open and just fixate your gaze on something and just soften your gaze, allow your gaze to soften, and just stare, and you don't blink, what will happen after a while, or what happens for me, is the room is just filled with sweeping colours, create like lots and lots of different colours, swirling colours, reds, blues, yellows. It's like a psychedelic wonderland, and that's what happens for me if I just keep my eyes open and I just harmonize my gaze. Or even if I'm giving someone hands-on healing, I'm doing some Reiki, and I'm working maybe at the top of the head, and I'll just soften my gaze and I'll just look down the body, and I will just see the different barriers of their auric field around them, the different layers of the aura. And I might see elements of light that's moving off them, or darkness moving off them. I'll see all sorts of different things in my mind's eye, or even sometimes with my physical eye. And I even see it sometimes. I'll see my guides helping with the healing as well. They'll stand and they'll assist with the healing, or they'll hold the space and give protection as well. And one of my clients last year came with me with a few sort of physical issues, and one of my guides moved forward and started to do a lot of healing, and there was sort of like swirling and dancing, and I've never seen this guide before. I didn't know who they were, but I just had a feeling that they were connected to me on some level. And then I heard Mongolian shaman, and that's the words I heard. And then so I went to actually sort of search Mongolian shamans and see what they actually look like. They looked just like this being that was dancing around, and they were helping to heal and remove any of the heaviness around the body. I used to meditate before taking mushrooms to calm myself and clear my mind. I usually found those times I did that I'd have the most beneficial experiences. Yeah, because you're going into different brainwave states when you're going into meditations. It's all to do with that. We're normally in like sort of a beta state, and then we're going into alpha, and then you start going into after your alpha you start going into like sort of theta, and then gamma. So you're going into all these different brainwave states, and the further you go, the more relaxed you become. The more relaxed you become, the more spiritually kind of aware you become. You start to feel lighter. You have a deeper connection to your own energy. Sometimes you can be aware of spirit or energy that is around you as well. Lee Elliott, sorry mate, I've just turned up. What are you talking about? Bit of all sorts, to be fair. We've just been talking about psychedelics and psychedelic experiences, as you do. And I've just been talking about meditation and the various practices that I use, and yeah, things that you can experience during meditation. And yeah, just kind of that sort of stuff, really. Just asking about people's Christmases, if they celebrate Christmas, if they've had a nice Christmas, if it's been peaceful, has it been, what's been happening. So I hope you've had a good time. Are you talking about out-of-body experiences? I'm not, but we can if you want. We can if you wish, if that's something you want to discuss. Has anybody else had an out-of-body experience? should we discuss it? Should we talk about it? I'm happy to talk about it. It's only happened to me a couple of times. First time, not intentionally. The second time, more intentionally. But yeah. Insatiable. I've achieved the visual meditation. What you're talking about. I have that before I fall asleep sometimes. Yeah, is that like seeing the colours and things in, like if you have your eyes closed, you see in your mind's eye all the different colours? Because I know when I was a kid, when I was really young, when I used to go to sleep and I would close my eyes and I would see lots of colours in my third eye, and then but then as you grow older, that tends to fade off a little bit. But as I've sort of like become more spiritually inclined, that's become more powerful again. So I do see colours more now in my mind's eye. Not all the time, but usually when I'm in a meditation or doing some sort of healing work, I will see the colours, or like shapes or faces as well sometimes. Yeah, but that ties in quite nicely with the outer body experiences, because usually when we're young, and I don't know, it might have happened to you guys, I don't know, but when I was young, I used to often have this dream. I thought it was a dream that I'd be floating down the stairs. And I know a lot of people have talked about that before, and that's actually an out-of-body experience that you're having when you're young. Because when you are young, you're more open, you're more spiritually inclined, you're open, you don't know about it, but you are open to it, and your energy is more open, you haven't got all the life blocks and stuff that gets thrown at you. So that stuff happens easier. Yeah. Lee, I was able to get out of my body at will, but now I seem to have lost it. Yeah, well, maybe that's something that maybe you don't need to do it as much. Maybe you don't need to be out of your body as much. It's because it's not something that we should be doing all the time, by the way. It's something it's interesting to experience, but I don't think it's something, because it's not our natural state. Our natural state is this. It's being the spiritual energy in form. But yeah, I don't think it's something that should be done on a kind of like a regular basis. And also it depends on what vibrational state you're in, and also what physical and mental state you're in as well, because that can attract negative energy as well. So it's something that's you just got to kind of like, it's interesting, and it's good to be aware of it. And you know that you have the ability there. Just at the minute, you're having a little bit of a holiday from it. It will come back. I'm sure it will come back. There may have been something that you used to do more of that maybe you're not doing as much of now, and that's why it's like not as easy to get into that state. Milk, I had a fake awake lucid dream years back where I sort of woke up in another dream. Could have just been the plot. Yeah. Again, it's all to do with your brain waves and what kind of like what frequency you're at. It's all to do with frequency, and there's been many occasions where I've thought I've been awake, but I'm actually asleep, and I'm actually in a totally different location. I'm not this person, I'm somebody else, and I'm kind of like acting out or doing something totally different in another part of the world, in another totally different location. Then all of a sudden I'll wake up and I'll be like back here. It's almost like I've tapped into another, maybe it's a soul fragmentation of who I am, maybe it's an aspect of me that I was tapping into, because we're all fragments of one soul. So yeah, Lee, maybe that's why it's been taken away from me, because it's not normal. No, but what is normal, I suppose? But yeah, I wouldn't say it's something to do on kind of like an everyday or every week basis, like having out of body experiences. I mean, the two that I had one experience. Oh God, I can't even remember when. It was when I first discovered Moldavite, actually, and I did a meditation with some Moldavite, and then that sort of popped me out because it raised my vibration. But then I sort of like the fear of it popped me back in like quite quickly. The next time that I did it, I was kind of like a little bit more prepared, and I popped out, and it felt like a little bit longer, but wasn't that long. It was probably 10 seconds or something like that. I don't know, because time's irrelevant in that, when you're in that frequency. And then I popped back in again. And that's the only two times really that I've been consciously aware or intentionally aware that that's what I've done. Other than that, if I have, because normally we're out of our bodies when we're dreaming anyway. We're off doing soul work and spirit work that we need to do. So, yeah. But that was the two main times, yeah, that I was kind of like consciously aware that it happened. Normality is a myth. It would happen to you at least twice a week. Wow, that is quite a lot. Yeah, that is quite a lot. So, was there just out of curiosity, at that time, was there something going on in your life that you felt you needed to escape from? And you need to get away from, and because that could have been an aspect of why you were trying to escape on some level. It could be an out-of-body experience thing, an element of you just stepping away from a situation. But yeah, twice a week's quite a lot. And after the first time that it happened, with that piece of Moldavite that I had, I tried and tried and tried for it to happen again. And it was only when I wasn't trying that it did happen again. Ah, right, okay. So it started after you had some damage to your brain. That's interesting. Right. Welcome back, Insatiable, on your main account. Tee-hee. Yeah, I mean, the vastness of the brain, of the mind, of the different sections of the brain and what it all does, and the subconscious mind, the mind-body connection, the neurological links, the physiological stuff. The human body is just like so amazing. It really, really is. And to get into the aspect of them, we know very, very little about the brain and what it can do. It's almost like the mind is as vast as the universe. And I often say as well, mind over matter. So, yeah, that kind of puts that into context a little bit, doesn't it? What you're thinking is going to create your matter. It's going to create the world around you. Mind over matter. Yeah. You're welcome, Lee. You're welcome. Please do subscribe if you're new. If you're new here, do subscribe to the channel. Yeah. the thinkerer. Now, there's Alex. Alex is the thinkerer. Psychology is not only the study of the mind. A lot of people don't know it's also a main study of spirit. It really is. You're absolutely right. I mean, psychologists usually tend to fall into two brackets. You'll get the ones that will be totally textbook and they won't have any spiritual inclination whatsoever. And then you will get the ones that are textbook and spirituals. They'll be a bit of both because they'll understand the connection between the two. They'll get it. They'll be able to feel it on some level. And that's what I've found over the years with speaking to different sort of like therapists, counselors, psychotherapists, psychiatrists and things like that, that they often have they're often black and white. You know, some of them are just totally textbook and have no spiritual inclination whatsoever. I love that. Reality is created on perspective. Absolutely. I love that. Your perspective and your perception is what is creating everything. You know, it really is. And that takes us back to what we were talking about earlier on, about this whole thing about divide, you know, cultural and collective divide. It's all to do with perception. What people believe, what people perceive is happening is what's creating the separation. I love it when people accept science alongside religion. The both of these words don't excite me. Yeah, it's a little bit like when I talked about this before, but when I've watched Dr. Brian Cox and I've watched some of his seminars and things, and the stuff that he says is so closely connected to spirituality, and the connections between the two is just ridiculously close. Almost as though he feels kind of like restricted slightly because he's not accepted. I'm going to have to head off and try and answer this call. I might be back on shortly, so please accept my apologies for any of the glitches and the gremlins that have been taking place today on this live. I'm just gonna head off and see what calls are going on and possibly be back on. All right, toodaloo for now. Bye bye. Much love.